So I will build a 6-legged fully functional robot which typically costs around and even more than $5,000 with a budget of only $100. Alright, so how do you do a robot on a budget? If you're here and you're watching this, you're probably interested in that field. So please consider subscribing to this channel. Also have in mind that these tips, they are not only for robotics, they apply basically for all kind of projects in all spheres. So even if you're not devoted to robotics, you probably want to hear some. Without further talking, let's go through the advices I'll be giving you guys today. Well, the first advice that I'll be giving you today is have an idea for the robot. This means not only having the general idea of what the robot will be doing, how much it will cost, what kinds of parts we will need, but have a plan for the robot, make a plan like you have all the money you need. And the purpose of this is not limiting your imagination. If you know you're on budget, you automatically start excluding some of the solutions you may need for your project. So for start, just imagine that you have all the money you need. So after you stop limiting yourself with the budget, it's time to start building your project. Research, find everything you need, all the parts by their serial numbers with all the details you need. Construct the robot in your mind. Have the idea of which part you will use for the robot. So the third step is to start drawing. Just grab a bunch of papers and a pencil, draw the robot or whatever project you are doing the way you have imagined it with all the details. This way you're less likely to forget something when you actually start removing parts or replacing them with some other alternative solutions. After those three first steps, here it comes the creative part. What you need to do is have a look at every part, every component of your project. Start creatively thinking of how this part can be replaced with something cheaper, with some other alternative which will do not worse work than the one you firstly had imagined. That made me happy. Those were the first random people to join my vlog. I feel comfortable. And believe me or not, every single part can be replaced with something more cost efficient. You just need to have that imagination level, which you will gain when doing more and more projects. But I don't want you to get bored, so I won't be only saying you some theoretical stuff and rules. I want you to see actually these rules in action. Therefore, I will apply them for my latest project. You may have heard of it in the first and the second vlog. So I will build a 6-legged fully functional robot which typically costs around and even more than $5,000 with a budget of only $100. Are you excited? Alright, so firstly you need to make some kind of a sketch. It may be 2-dimensional, it may be 3-dimensional, as you prefer and as your abilities are. I personally prefer first to make a 2D sketch, and then if I have the energy, the time and the ability to make it, because some sketches may be too hard to be done in 3D by hand, at least for me, I will make a 3D, as in this example. Another good advice is to use different colors for different purposes. Let's say I use black for the main drawings, I use red for the moving parts and the motors, and I use blue for the notes I take. Another good thing to know is that if your project contains some repetitive parts, it is highly recommended that you draw at least one of them in some great details, not like me here. But as long as the other parts are mirrored or absolutely the same, you don't really need to draw them in details too. The only reason I am drawing them is to have a general vision of how they are placed at the whole project. And this applies not only for robotics, this applies for as many fields as you wish. Once you finish sketching, it is a good habit to scan it a few times so you can make sure that you haven't missed anything. After that you can continue with your product list and calculate the prices. When you find out that the price is not really suitable for your budget, here it comes the creative thinking, and you basically go part by part and trying to figure out ways how to reduce or how to replace the parts. In my case, my greatest advantage was inventing a system which was capable of replacing 18 motors with a single one, which basically has the same functionality. Then you calculate your budget, and in my case it turned out that that I save as much as more than $1,000 just by replacing parts and stuff. So as you can see, you save more than $1,000 here. Alright, so once you finish calculating, there are only a few things left to do actually, and the first and probably the most important one is consider throwing all your sketches in the rubbish bin so no one can discover them by random. If you, in my case, have problems with putting them in the rubbish bin, you may consider throwing them out of the window. But you know, we are kind of a nature savers. We need to save the nature, so you should probably come with some more creative ideas of throwing them. Also, it is good advice that you not put fire on the paper, mainly because your rubbish bin is made out of a plastic and it will burn too, and after that you're home. So a bottle of water can always come in handy. Also, I'm really apologizing for the terrible sound when I'm outside. I promise I'll buy a microphone as soon as I can. So if you stick to these rules, you may well decrease your budget on your project by multiple times and use the money for some other purposes, or save some money, or just do your project because you don't have any money. So this was the vlog, at least for now. If you like my content and the videos I made, please consider subscribing or liking and watching my other videos. I upload new video each Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Thanks for watching and see you in a few days.